Why not just go ahead, release the full files on Epstein, get this all over with?
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
So here's what happened. I spent the entire night digging through all 20,000 of the Epstein emails that the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee just pulled from Epstein's estate. And let me tell you something. What you saw yesterday was just the surface. Everybody focused on that one email where Epstein calls Trump the dog that isn't barking and hints that Trump knew exactly who the victims were and spent hours with one of them at Epstein's house. But that is nothing compared to the rest. Because once you read deeper into the pile, you start to see something far darker, far more revealing, and absolutely catastrophic for Donald Trump. These emails show Epstein talking to world leaders, writing to prime ministers, coordinating with foreign governments. And in nearly every thread, Trump's name shows up exactly where Trump swore it never would. There's one message from 2015 that almost feels like a movie scene. Epstein tells a journalist to ask his houseman about Donald working almost walking through the door, leaving his nose print on the glass while young women were swimming in the pool. That's not just a slip. That's a window into how close Epstein and Trump really were. Because while Trump claimed he barely knew the guy, Epstein was out here describing him walking into the glass door like a cartoon character because he couldn't stop staring at the girls in the pool. Then it gets even worse. One email shows Epstein bragging about advising the Russian government, literally saying he gave information to Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, 1 week before the Helsinki summit during Trump's first term. Epstein tells the former prime minister of Norway to suggest to Putin that Lavrov get insight by talking to me. Then he adds, vital and used to, but he died. In other words, he had a pipeline directly into the Russian government, and he was offering them information about Donald Trump before Trump walked into a face-to-face meeting with Putin. The former prime minister responds, I'll meet Lavrov's assistant Monday and suggest. They sign off like old friends planning a dinner party. This is the level of access Epstein had. And in the middle of all that, Epstein writes this, I've met some very bad people. None as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body. That wasn't anonymous gossip. That was a private message sent directly to Larry Summers. Then there's a message involving Jean LeBlanc, another man tied to trafficking who mysteriously died. Epstein is talking about bringing a Burmese singer to the US and says, I will send you her picture. She is very pretty. Then casually jumps to, Obama visits Myanmar and Chen Chen comes to America. Like trafficking women was part of his political calendar. But one of the most chilling emails involves Steve Bannon. Epstein says lawyers should claim Christine Blasey Ford was on medication, causing false memories, to protect Brett Kavanaugh. Epstein was literally giving PR strategy to the future chief strategist of the Trump White House. Epstein also emails about Trump's finances, saying someone should ask to see the mortgage on Mar-a-Lago because cash from the electricians union was involved, and that Trump backdated a $30 million casino loan, and then refers to Trump beating up Atlantic City promoters and says, he is straight with me. Another email mentions Trump walking through the door of Mar-a-Lago while Epstein's girls were there. Another says Trump's plane is parked right in front of Epstein's at Islip. Another, Summers and I talking to Trump and Melania last night. He looked tired but upbeat. This is not two people who barely knew each other. This is two people intertwined in business, politics, social circles, and God knows what else. Then there's the message from 2016 that blew my mind. Someone asks Epstein if he's still in Paris, and Epstein replies, "I'm in the Trump Tower." November 13th, 2016, 1 week after Trump won the election. While Trump was telling America he hadn't spoken to Epstein in more than a decade, Epstein claims he was sitting inside Trump Tower. And then we get to the stuff released yesterday, the emails that were easy for everyone to understand. The one where Epstein tells Ghislaine, "The dog that hasn't barked is Trump," referring to a victim Trump spent hours with at Epstein's house. The email from Michael Wolff where Epstein laughs about Trump pretending he wasn't on the plane or in the house and says, of course he knew about the girls. The email where Epstein says, "I know how dirty Donald is." But the one that sums it up is this. Epstein bragging that he gave his 20-year-old girlfriend to Donald Trump after 2 years, calling her secondhand. The same grotesque language he used in that birthday book when he joked about selling a fully depreciated woman to Trump. That wasn't a joke. That was their reality. And here's the part no one caught. Epstein says Bill Clinton was never on the island. The right-wing conspiracy built around Clinton evaporates right there. Meanwhile, Trump's name appears over and over and over again in Epstein's private emails, in his private notes, in his private communications with world leaders and billionaires. I even found an email about Trump's deposition being scheduled for August 18th, 2009. Did he ever sit for it? Did he dodge it? Why was it scheduled? What case was it related to? All we know is that someone was moving aggressively to put him under oath. And then there are the plane logs, the tracking data, the pilots sending Epstein updates about where Trump's jet was parked, the messages where Epstein talks about Trump owing him favors, the messages where Epstein talks about how Trump poisons everyone around him, turns them against each other, and manipulates them. Epstein describes the Trump White House in exact detail, and if this was 2017, he was getting that intel from someone inside, someone close. So when Trump says he barely knew Epstein, when Fox News pretends Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, when MAGA screams release the files but blocks every subpoena, these emails tell the real story. And the real story is that Epstein wasn't just an acquaintance of Donald Trump. He was inside his world, inside his business, inside his inner circle. And according to Epstein himself, Trump was the dirtiest one in the room. And if this is what's in the emails, imagine what's in the files.